I'm Cape Joel, and this is Comic Smack, your weekly, daily, all the time, anytime comic show where I give you your fix of everything you need to know from the world of comic books and superheroes. And on today's show, we're taking a closer look at Daredevil, issue number 11. Matt Murdock's new protege, Blindspot, has found himself in the middle of a terrifying case involving a portrait made entirely of human blood. What'll happen next? Let's hop on in together and find out, shall we? Alright, so as the comic opens up, we see an Inhuman in New York getting mugged by a group of gangsters, only that's what we think it is at first. Upon closer inspection, we quickly discover that these so-called gangbangers consider themselves to be concerned citizens. They fear this guy because he's an Inhuman and they don't want to bring any trouble to the neighborhood. As we find out, this Inhuman has lived in this part of town forever. He's a shop owner, and his Inhuman power, well, it's kind of lame. He can create snowflakes at night. Before this poor unfortunate soul can get his head kicked in by all these angry would-be vigilantes, he's saved at the last second by an even more mysterious vigilante. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, what about that strange painting from last issue, the one that Blindspot found, the one that was made up of the blood of hundreds of missing people? Well, that's where things start to get really complicated. You see, Daredevil and Blindspot just couldn't move evidence, and while the cops are running their tests and everything, the creep who owns the building decides that he could make a tidy profit off this. He wants to start selling tickets that night, 20 bucks a pop for people to come and see the macabre painting. He, however, runs into interference from a local councilwoman who says that her niece was one of the dead people whose blood made up that painting. The building owner is as stubborn as he is greedy, and it's clear he's not going to back down. Because of this, the councilwoman decides to get some legal power behind her. It's because of this the district attorney's office decides to turn over these complicated legal matters to Matt Murdock to see that the art gallery gets shut down. And while Matt may think that the guy doing this is a tragedy, profiteer, and human garbage, he's really in the doghouse with his bosses at the district attorney's office right now, so he kinda has to play ball on this one. You know, it's either that or learn to start practicing law from one of those refrigerator boxes. To help him through this matter, Matt decides to meet up with his old buddy and former law partner, Foggy Nelson. Now again, what happened between these two, much like how everyone in New York forgot who Daredevil is still very much shrouded in mystery. In fact, Foggy even mentions Matt's last girlfriend, Kristen, and how she still very much wants to see Matt, even though Matt doesn't seem to want to see her for whatever reason. The mysterious artistic killer, who is later renamed Vincent Van Gogh, and oh man, I really hope that's not his supervillain name, because if so, it's super lame, makes an appearance later that night at the gallery opening. He defaces the painting and in classic movie serial killer fashion calls out the heroes to the site of his next major crime. The next piece of murder disguised as performance art turns out to be a mosaic piece filled with a bunch of dead, stuffed Inhumans, including the one from the beginning of the issue. This case was already getting out of control fast, and now that we have these dead Inhumans, it means the NYPD and Matt Murdock are going to have to work closer with New Attilan security, which is actually pretty fitting when we stop and consider Charles Soules also writes the Inhuman book, and in that series, he created a brand new character who's the head of New Attilan security and also a former New York cop. Matt's heightened Daredevil senses tell him that the killer might not actually be too far away from the crime scene. He suits up and heads to the roof where he comes face to face with Van Gogh. And that is where the comic ends. Daredevil number 11 to me was a really solid, really deliberately paced mystery piece. Charles Soule has given us a bunch of different puzzle pieces right now, and over the next little bit we're going to see how they all fit together. I got a real Seven vibe off of this issue, and despite his somewhat silly name, I have to admit Van Gogh looks like a pretty cool villain. Throw in the Inhumans now as wild cards and you got yourself the makings of a pretty damn interesting Daredevil story, if I do say so myself. Overall, I would give this one an 8.5 out of 10.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching my newest video. I hope you enjoyed it, and while you're here, why not check out another video I have on offer, or maybe if you're feeling in a supportive mood, you want to like or subscribe. And if you want to support the creation of more videos just like this one, then please by all means check out the Cape Joel Patreon. A little bit goes a very long way, and I will see you all next time.